What's going on, guys? So I just finished making these balsa wood strops for my Wicked Edge, and I think I'll do another video later going over the actual process of picking some balsa wood up from my local hobby shop. But I gotta load these with compound, so I figured what the heck I would do a video. And even though there are plenty of other videos by more knowledgeable people other than myself, just how I do it, and maybe you'll find some things helpful. So what you need to load your strops. First off, already condition the surface. I got some 220 grit sandpaper, and obviously after making sure that they were flat, just condition the surface, roughen it up a little bit so that it was ready to take the compound. Really what's going on is you want the surface of the strop, you want the substrate that the little industrial diamonds are suspended in to adhere to the surface and to really work itself in. So roughen it up a little bit, and this is just a little finger cot that I got from work. I work in a restaurant. If you have a first aid kit laying around at your place of employment, I'm sure you have some of these in there. If you work in the food service industry and you do not, well, shame on your manager for not having these things readily available for you to conceal your cuts on your fingers. I'm joking, but anyway, I use them because as you can see, my fingers are pretty chewed up, and you don't have to use a latex glove, but I feel a little bit better in terms of preventing cross-contamination if I wear some sort of like latex barrier between my finger and the strop itself. It's easier to clean. That's mainly what I'm trying to get at. So go ahead and put this guy on. I'll start with my my fine side. In theory, the reason I do this is because after I get done doing my fine, I obviously move over to my coarse, and if any of the fine compound gets on the coarse side, it's not that big of a deal. You just don't want your coarse to get onto your fine. So just kind of taking some precautions here. Just kind of a step that you learn along the way. But anyway, I'll get to it. So I have my 3.5 micron compound, and the objective here is to really stretch your compound. You don't need a whole lot. You really just want to cover the surface of the strop, and try to do that as evenly as possible. So what I like to do is I kind of think of the strop, divided into 3 sections, and with 3 dollops of compound for each 3 of the sections. So kind of think of how much it would take to cover the surface of those 3 sections. And so, it's always safe to start off with a little bit, and you can add some if you need to, but putting too much compound is not a good thing for a lot of reasons. When I first started sharpening knives on the Wicked Edge, I had so much compound. It was everywhere. It was all over the strop itself, and it'd get down here, and you want to prevent that as much as possible. So you only need enough to cover the surface of the strop. So we're going to do that right now. I'll put a little dollop there. See, that might be a little too much, to be honest with you. Another there, and another there. So, and then what I like to do is I like to spread it out across the entire length of the strop. So, and I'll just kind of even it out and then form somewhat of an even coat along this line from top to bottom. And then I'll work in a zigzag motion up, across the entire length of the strop to kind of work it in back and forth like this. So yeah, doing that, just working it in. So first, up and down, and then dispersing the compound left and right. And obviously we'll do it until the entire surface of the strop is covered, and I don't see any more of the strop itself coming through. So right there, I mean, that strop is loaded with compound. And then what I may do is I'll kind of do little circular motions just to really, really work it in there. Back and forth, because you're trying to get it down into the pores that on the actual strop itself, on the surface. So there you go. That's the way I do it, and it's worked out pretty well for me. Because the first time I loaded my strops, not only did I contaminate them like an idiot, but I continued to use way too much. So I'm going to fly through this real quick on the other 3.5 micron. You can kind of see again what I do. And then again, just start going back and forth, zigzagging your way up and down the strop. And you can kind of see a little more of the surface of this one coming through, because I think I didn't put as much compound. It's not that it's too little, but I definitely didn't put as much as I did on the other strop, which is fine. Again, I mean, the first few times you use it, it's going to come off. Any excess is definitely going to come off. That's why you need to wipe your blade off probably a little more frequently, just to go ahead and remove all the excess, because you really don't want it there. So, and even though that's not as much as I put on the other one, you can see it because it's a little darker. Maybe you can't, I don't know. So this is the one that I did first, and this is a little bit darker than this one because there's a little more compound. But it's not that big of a deal. I don't need to add any more. Again, the name of the game here, the objective is just to cover the surface. That's all you need to do. So anyway, I'll go ahead and turn off the video and finish with my 5 microns. And then I will be using them for the first time, because I have yet to use balsa wood. Oh, gasp! Can't believe it, right? I know I'm kind of late on this bandwagon. But yeah, so I'm going to use my new balsa wood strops on my, I'm trying to show you, on my Benchmade 940 Osborne that I recently reprofiled at 17 degrees per side. So I'll do another video finishing up. I've already I stopped at my the 1000 grit diamonds, and then I'll strop with these 3.5 micron on the balsa, and then finish up with 1 and 0.5 micron on the leather. So and then I guess I might do one more video talking about the actual process of getting some balsa wood and making some strops out of it. But anyway, all right, thanks guys.